What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the art channel. Welcome back to the studio. So we're starting today's video, a day in the life of an artist. We're going to be sending out these commissions at the post office. So I'm probably going to have to stand in line for a little while and whatnot. But you guys saw the production of these art productions on my most recent videos. But they are, going to a client. So it's always a little sad to send the art babies away. But it's really good that they'll be in a home where somebody, will enjoy them and love them and care about them. And as you can see, we got some big canvases in the background there. We got some sketch pads over there. And yeah, so hope you all enjoy this video. So I did want to show you guys this really fantastic figure drawing reference website that I've been using. It's actually called Sketch Daily Reference, and you can select the gender of the model. You can select whether you want it to be clothed or non-clothed. You can select the pose. You can also select how long you want to actually have the person pose for. So I'll show you guys what it looks like here, and I'll kind of show you guys how I do it. So the overall layout of the website is fairly, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can select the gender right here. Clothing, I usually do the nude. Pose, I just usually do both. The view doesn't really matter. And I usually put it on 5 minutes. So as far as the gesture drawings go, usually when you think of gesture drawings, people usually think of like 30-second poses, 1 or 2 minute poses. That's way too fast for me. I can't even really comprehend what I'm trying to draw in that quick a period of a time. So I usually set it to about 5 minutes. That gives me a good foundation to get the sketch started without enough time to get too dedicated into details. So it is still gesture drawing, but it's not, gesture drawing for 30 seconds or 1 minute, because that's just not enough time for me personally just to really get a good gesture drawing. But yeah, gesture drawing is something I've really been concentrating on lately. It's been part of my artistic, routine, so to speak. So I've got a really nice sharp graphite pencil. Not a graphite pencil, a charcoal pencil rather. What's the name of the brand here? Let's check that real quick, just in case anybody's wondering. It's the General's Charcoal Soft Pencil. Really good brand. Taking a sip of my coffee there, accompanied by my giant nose. So I'm loading up the website here, just getting ready to work on my poses, working on a pretty small sketch pad. What's the size here? It's a 9 inches by 12 inches. And yeah, we're just going to get right into it. I had to flip the page because it was more like a diagonal pose. So gesture drawing, let's talk a little bit about it now that we're working on it. It's super challenging for me. It's not something I normally do. I did it maybe a total of 5 or 6 times at some life drawing classes that I went to, but it was never something that I really went on to really practice. But I've been watching a lot of Stan Prokopenko and just learning about the old masters and all this good stuff. And gesture drawing is really one of the foundations for being a proficient draftsman. And it's really exciting. It's really fun to do gesture drawings, but it's really challenging because you have to use a lot of broad strokes. You have to not get bogged down by detail. You're just kind of focusing on the mood, the motion, and sort of the action of the pose. And if you practice it, fairly frequently, you will get better. But you don't want to confuse gesture drawing with anatomy studies, because they're really 2 separate things. The gesture drawings are not really meant to necessarily be realistic. I mean, they're supposed to be representational and slightly realistic in the sense of, looking like somebody's doing a pose, an action pose, or more like a reclining pose, whatever the live model is potentially doing, or the model from the internet, or the photograph, whatever it is you're doing. And there's different levels of gesture drawing. You can draw gestures for 30 seconds and do like, for an hour and do like 200 drawings or however many that would add up to. Or you can do like 2 minutes, and do like 50 drawings, or you can do 5 minutes. I would say anything beyond 10 minutes is probably not considered a gesture drawing, but maybe even 15, 20 minutes is a form of a gesture study. It would be like a more refined gesture study. It wouldn't be, just like a real quick 30-second pose or something. I don't recommend for beginners to start out with the 30-second poses or even the 1 or 2 minute poses, because you're not going to be used to just letting go of detail and just sitting there and just doing really, really quick drawings. It's just going to come out looking like gibberish. But it is good practice, and I think maybe you should start with at least 3 to 4 to 5 minutes working on your gestures, and then decrease the time from there. That way you sort of have a foundation. You kind of know what you're doing. And even these didn't look too good to me at the time, but now that I'm looking back on them, they don't look too bad. Flipping the page here to work on another one, but it's very challenging. Sometimes I'll get done even before the 5 minutes is up, but I'm just not happy with the drawing, so I just move on to another one. You don't have to use real expensive paper. You don't have to use expensive materials. This is just for the purpose of practicing. You could do this on ink paper, on ink printer paper, what have you. Now there's a couple different ways you can approach gesture drawing. You can sort of start with this sort of the stick figure type thing, or you can start with little circles. You could start with blobs. You could like use the bean that Stan Prokopenko teaches, where you sort of use the upper and the lower part of the body, the torso and the stomach area. I'm not sure of how far the bean actually extends to, but it's like this little shape that forms the shape of the human that you're trying to draw. Or you can just sort of do the sort of like the overall, I like to think of it as like the spine of the drawing. Like the first mark I made was the whole movement of the drawing, and now I'm sort of making these other marks to form the rest of the body. I'm not an expert in gesture drawing. I've only recently just kind of started taking it up. And I don't really like to draw upright like this because it hurts my shoulder. So normally I would be doing my gesture drawings just on a flat surface, like flat on the table. But just for the sake of filming, it's a lot easier to just do it like this. It's easier to film when it's upright like that. So it's just, a challenge to sort of really get quick motion in a quick period of time. But it's really excellent practice. And I recommend, if you can do it, to do it as often as you can, even if it's just for the first 20 minutes to half an hour of your artistic routine. It's just super important to really experiment with it. So we're wrapping up sort of the ending of this drawing, and then I'm going to move on to another one here in just a second. But I really like the way that the charcoal pencil lends itself to the quick strokes and the quick shading of the gesture drawing. It's super cool. So just making some final strokes here before we move on to the other drawing. You can tell most of these do look like people, but they're just very, very basic. They're very primitive. Starting another one right here. And these are definitely not my best gesture drawings. I think I was sometimes you'll have really good days. You'll feel like you're on top of your game. Then you'll have other days where you're getting frustrated with yourself and whatnot. But the key is to just keep doing it. Think simple. Don't get bogged down by details or anatomy. But just try to make it look like a human that's doing a pose. Just start with the base. I like to do that little sort of hangman thing where you draw the head, then you draw the line for the shoulders, and then now I'm sort of getting into the chest region. Or you could just start with like lines to sort of outline. See, I'm getting a little stuck into the detail of the pose, which is somewhat important, but it's better just to just really loosen up and just use as little lines as humanly possible. So I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit of my gesture drawing process. I hope you guys enjoyed that little segment. So another aspect of being an artist that I thought I would share in this video was constantly rearranging one's, artistic studio. I think it's super important. Now, I'm not utilizing this small space to its best potential. So let me explain to you, and I'll put the camera in the other direction so y'all can understand what I'm talking about. Okay, just to give you all a little bit of perspective, my bed is right here. It's against the window, so I do get really good daylight, which is good. But when I paint at night, I have to use this spotlight, or else it's just too dark on my painting. So I always put this spotlight right here, right at the edge of this right here, because obviously the spotlight is not going to fit against this little duct here. I guess there's like a pipe or something going in there, who knows. But so that's why I've got this kind of away from the wall here. But this is almost a whole foot here that I'm not using. So basically what we're going to do is, to free up some space in this small tiny little studio, is we're going to basically flip-flop this this maintenance art table. We're going to basically be putting this against the wall over there, right up against the wall. I don't have to worry about, not pushing it as far up against the wall to accommodate lights or any of that nonsense. I'm basically going to flop the easel, put it over here facing this direction, and then I might just have to have the easel out maybe a little bit, like a foot, and then we'll put, we'll just follow suit and put that table right against the wall on the back, so we can still get that spotlight up here. But there's no duct on this side of the wall, which is really awesome, because I don't have to worry about, utilizing that space, because this side has the duct, that little ridge, whatever you want to call it, that little blockade there, which doesn't allow me a lot of space to have the spotlight. So I do think this is going to free everything up a little bit. So like I said, normally I would have the blinds open, but even now it's still really backlit, so I wanted to close that. But we got a little bit of chaos going on in here, but we're making progress. I think this is going to be pretty good overall when all is said and done. So we've got the easel on this side of the room now. It's nice and tug up against the wall there. I do still have to take into account this, which is my platform for my towels to wipe my brushes, and also I put my computer on there for my reference photos. But I'm super excited that this is not going to be in the way of the closet anymore. I could potentially leave my closet open and not have to worry about people seeing in my closet while I'm filming or anything like that, because for the most part I'm going to be filming from this direction. So we just got to kind of put the spotlight up there, kind of see how it looks, put the cardboard boxes right here, and then I can just push them up against the wall after we're done using them, after the painting session. So you really realize how much painting equipment you actually have once you start rearranging things. This is kind of funny. I used old records and old art books to prop up the spotlight onto these really cheap flimsy tables that are not designed to carry a lot of weight, but actually surprisingly they last a really long time. Like this one is really taking a beating, but I can tell it's still solid as a brick, which is really cool. So they're really cheap tables, but they actually work. You're not really supposed to have a lot of weight on them, but they can actually take quite a bit of weight within reason. So yeah, just Bazooki records and Telemon records, and I need to get my record player back, but it's probably not good that I'm keeping my records in that condition, stacking things on top of them. That's probably really, really bad for my records actually. But I don't really have a choice at this point. I'm just kind of using what I got at my disposal. So today has turned into a total reorganization session, but it's pretty much well underway. I've got the the lion's share of it done. We've got all the stuff back on the art table over there. I've got the ability to close that now while I make my videos, so there's no distractions, people looking in my closet and whatnot. Hung up a couple paintings. I think I showed you guys that earlier. And then we've got this space over here that's going to be pretty well utilized, I think. And I actually took all the paintings out of the closet. Let me show you. So I've got much more room in there. I was hoarding a bunch of reference photos and old drawings in there. I took the drawings out and threw out all the old reference photos that I wasn't using anymore. I don't even know why I was holding on to them for so long. But I got my sketchbooks back there, so that's pretty cool. They're not really taking up a lot of room, and I kind of want to just keep them in there just for safekeeping. And then, you know, all my paints right here. So everything is pretty much right where it needs to be. These are all the potions, the mineral spirits, the oil mediums. I've got one more little thing of brushes right here. So I've got all my brushes there. My palette. Still got my laundry basket under there. I know it's really bad. I should probably put that in my closet, actually. These are my little painting shoes. Just a little notebook and some extra paint and some gloves for when I clean my palette down there. And I took all my paintings out and put them in the other room, except for the ones that I'm pretty much working on right now. So we'll go take a look at those as well. So this is super crazy, guys. These are all of my paintings, except for the ones that I haven't sold. I mean, except for the ones that I have sold, I'm sorry. So these are all the ones that were just jammed packed in my closet. And I can't even really show them all because there's probably at least over 100 paintings in here, I would say, at least well into the 80s or upper 90s. We got small paintings here, you know, medium-sized paintings. I mean, you can see how thick the stacks are. Most of them are on panels, so there's like, you know, a lot more in there than even I thought I had. But I've got so many paintings in here, and they definitely bring me right back to like the time of when I actually painted them and just everything. So, you know, some good memories in these paintings, but also just some sad memories for whatever reason, frustrated memories, what have you. But, you know, I got some new paintings right here and just more paintings back here. And these are like my really big studio productions. These two, this is like just like a little life study I did of Noel that's not finished, obviously. But I kind of like the direction that it's going. It's looking kind of interesting. I might just kind of leave it like that. It was just kind of a little practice sketch with oils. And then obviously we've got my big studio productions here. That this one is unfinished. Let's see if I can move this trash can out of the way so you guys can see it. But yeah, that one's obviously unfinished. Just haven't really got around to finishing it for some reason. And then we've got all these here, which I hope to varnish at some point. But these are like my best paintings over here, I think. And then some really other good ones in the back here that are facing away, because I don't want anything to happen to them. But yeah, this is like where the paintings are going to go. So this is going to be the new studio storage room my dad offered to let me utilize this space a little bit. We got some drawings over there. So it's hard to believe that I've actually done this much art. It's really crazy. And this is not even including the stuff that's sold to people, you know, commissions, and even some of the paintings that I threw out because I didn't think they were good. But, you know, when I really stop to think about how much painting I've actually done, it's really quite insane to think that I've actually painted this much stuff, you know. And you might not feel very accomplished as an artist for whatever reason if you're not churning out a lot of paintings, but, you know, they definitely build up. It adds up over time. And it's about the consistency, you know. It's not about how great the paintings are and whatnot, but I think a lot of these are really, really good paintings. And I've got enough paintings to do like a one-man show. So if you know anybody that's looking to do, you know, hire a one-man show artist, hit me up. Or maybe I could do like a dual exhibition with another artist or something. That would be super cool. But yeah, it's just all about pursuing the craft, always trying to get better. And, you know, you should keep your mistakes close to you, you know, just so you kind of know where you went wrong and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll turn them against the wall just so that when I look back at them again, I can look at them with a fresh eye. But yeah, you know, even if your paintings aren't the best, you should still just hold on to them because it's cool just to have them. You know, it's really cool just to kind of have old paintings. Like a lot of these are just kind of unfinished, but it's just so cool to have them. I wish I had all my paintings, you know, from back when I was a kid also, but so this is like the little art supply section of the studio. You know, all the canvases that are yet to be used. Some sketchbooks over there, and just, you know, as you guys know, this is just a little drawing space. We also cleaned this. Pete's over here trying to hit me up for food. You trying to eat, Pete? So I was actually hoping to actually do more art in this day in the life of an artist vlog, but it ended up being more of like a cleaning video just because of all the stuff that I had to end up doing. For some reason, I got the concept of rearranging the studio today because I didn't want to film another painting video or any other footage just at that awkward angle. And I actually originally forgot to hang up the black quilt over here, but my dad actually reminded me that, hey, you got to hang up the black quilt over there. So I was like, yeah, I better do that. So I think this is going to work a lot better. It doesn't really solve the problem of having you know, the art studio in my bedroom with breathing in all the fumes and stuff. But I think as long as I close all the lids at night, you know, empty the trash cans, put the paintings in another room where they're not, you know, circulating, it should be okay for the most part. But if I die of like brain damage or something, you guys will definitely know why. So I just wanted to show you guys the final result of the studio rearrangement. It's working out really well. Excuse me, I'm coughing. It's working out really well. And I'm working on a painting, and I definitely like the you know, the structure of the studio. I have so much more room to stand back from my painting now than I did before. We're doing some more work on this. For some reason the face is like completely bleached out because I got the light directly on it. But yeah, so I'm definitely, you know, enjoying the process of, you know, being able to get up close to the canvas, and then I can stand all the way back here, you know, and just really judge what my colors are doing. I've still got my, you know, my little stand for the reference photos. My bed is right there, you know, if I want to just take a little quick break. I got the beautiful window right there. So just wanted to kind of update you guys on what was going on with the studio. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.